Okay, so I originally had a different one already, done, dusted, figured out. And then I want to say it was the bump that happened. And with Gunther, I always want to call him Walter, because that's just, but I mean, both of them work. They ran through a list of here's some other, notable intercontinental champions. And then they hit the Ultimate Warrior, and he called it the Dark Ages of wrestling. He's like, he's not an athlete, he's not a wrestler, he's a showman. Knowing what I know of the man who is Gunther, I understand where he's coming from. He does have the line, the man is sacred. He does view this as a sport. If you ask him what it is for, he is a wrestler. He's not a sportsman, he is a wrestler. He has a very fine delineation between this person is an athlete, this person is a wrestler, this person is a showman. This list of people who are showmen doesn't mean they didn't draw. He's not saying that. He's not saying that they didn't earn money. They didn't draw money. He's just saying when it comes to the sport of professional wrestling, they are not a professional wrestler. So, let's go through this as the Ultimate One takes on Gunther. Let's do this. Strength, hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. You can go back and you can watch the Ultimate Warrior do a fantastic body slam on Andre the Giant. That is such an amazing feat to see him pull off. Gunther, strong guy, but seeing, slamming Andre the Giant is always one of those incredibly impressive feats of strength. I'm also going to give it to Warrior. Warrior have had speed. Warrior sprinted down to the ring, sprinted around the ring, finished his match, and then sprinted back. That was Warrior. So you definitely who's definitely faster, definitely stronger. Endurance, definitely Gunther. I watched a Dutch Man tell bit where he was like, most Warrior matches were sub 7 minutes, and he laid out the perfect Warrior match. And ironically, the way it was laid out of Warrior comes down the ring, gets in the flurry of offense, gets stuffed by the heel, mounts a comeback, gets the pinfall. That's it. That's perfect with the way Gunther works. I picture this match kind of having that, the initial flurry, Gunther weathers it, stuffs the offense, mount the comeback by Warrior, stuff the offense. I picture there's that fantastic back and forth. They actually have a pretty solid match, provided that, he doesn't explode Warrior's chest with some chops. Toughness. I'm going to give this to Warrior. Again, wait. If you watch the Warrior during the majority of time in his run in the 80s and early 90s, he was very much he was a non-selling machine. With most of these being done someone in a kayfabe perspective, he took a pedigree and popped right up. So I'm definitely going to give him an edge in toughness just because of how much no selling he did in this time. Having said that, nobody no sells a chop from Gunther. Nobody does. The crowd sells a chop from Gunther. Striking, again, it's that gunshot chop. Sounds like a shotgun going off in the ring. He turns chests into hamburger so fast. Not to mention like his missile dropkick, his running dropkick, grappling. Again, fantastic power bombs, great suplexes. He's Gunther has an incredible striking game, an incredible grappling game. Submissions, same thing. His sleeper hold is incredible. You see a man of that size lift you up for a sleeper, looks fantastic, wins matches. Like someone once said, what makes Gunther so fantastic to watch is like he can beat you with the powerbomb. He can beat you with that ridiculous, lariato. He can beat you with just chopping you unconscious. He can beat you with a sleeper hold. Not only that, he can beat you with a top rope splash. He has this fantastic variety of moves that he can throw out and he can win matches with. Doesn't matter if it's someone who's faster. Okay, if he can't, has a problem hitting the powerbomb, fine, beat you with the sleeper. If the sleeper powerbomb doesn't do it, fine, powerbomb into the big splash. He's got the moves to take down virtually anybody, which is what makes his matches so exciting and dynamic to watch. Beyond the super stiff, sphincter puckering chops that he has. over with the crowd. With the exception of when Warrior came back for his WCW run, which, if you're a fan of the Warrior, you've probably deleted that from your memory. That music hits, the crowd got on their feet. Warrior was a spectacle. Warrior was the person where, his music hit, the crowd got to their feet, he ran to the ring, he shook the ropes, he got the whole crowd super excited, you know, had that babyface fire right from the bat, would get stuffed by the heel for a little bit, come back, babyface fire, hit the finish, run back. Just a fantastic, he was a sprint. And the crowd always loved him for it. Ring psychology. This was not Warrior's strong suit. Again, during his heyday, you didn't need ring psychology. You had a strong character, you were over, that was it. That's why when people talk about, the greatest of all time, they don't talk about people who were both over with the crowd and knew how to actually work the crowd. Getting that initial pop because your music hit, getting that pop when you won, those were great. As we've gotten more, actually, if you go back like in the 70s, ring psychology was very, very important. There's a reason why we still look at someone like a Dusty Rhodes, or a Randy Savage, or a Ric Flair, or a Roddy Piper, or a Terry Funk. There's lots of people who they did these really small things that really, really drew you in. And that wasn't Warrior, because it was the 80s. It was, the big bright colors. It was the massive, super jacked physique. He didn't need to do, adequate selling jobs. He didn't need to. That was not what was required for him. Gunther does a fantastic job. Go back and watch his matches with if you want to do his Maurice matches, like the Ilya Dragunov feud that he did NXT and NXT UK is just brilliant. The work that he did with, who we now refer to as Butch, or the matches that he did with Sheamus. Yes, they're these stiff, brutal encounters, but there's also those moments where it's the big flurry of ridiculous offense. And then there's that moment where you let the crowd kind of just calm back down. You let the crowd regain their energy. You let the people in the ring regain their energy. And then you explode yet again. And that's what, Warrior didn't have to learn those things. And some people said he never wanted to. Mic work. Gunther is a very well-spoken individual. I don't think people will be talking about some of his promos in the future like they do with Warriors, primarily because Warrior had very unique ones, whether he was spelling the word fear or telling you to load up the rocket ship with the rocket fuel and blow off to the moon with all of his warriors. So he was great for the short 80s shouty promo. If you ever heard Warrior try to do a longer promo, he had issues. Now, of course, when he got very much towards the end of his life, he actually figured out how to do a decent length of a coherent promo. But that was just, it's not what he needed to learn how to do. And there's some people who said that's something he didn't want to learn how to do. He knew how his bread was buttered, and he was totally fine with that. So, in this clash of the ages, this clash of titans, this clash of intercontinental champions, I think that while this would be a fantastic match, just from the way the Warrior match would be, where it's the initial flurry, getting stuffed by the heel, then the flurry comeback, I picture there being a lot of back and forth in this. But Gunther at this time is such a much more well-rounded professional wrestler inside the squared circle that I definitely do picture him probably fairly easily and handily being able to defeat somebody like the Ultimate Warrior. Again, as always, this is what the comment section is for, where you can, say you agree with me, disagree with me. I don't say this but if you enjoy it and want other people to watch it, by all means, like, share, subscribe, the whole thing if you made it this far in the video. But if you disagree with me, that's what the comment section's for.